These machines are a hot commodity this time of year, especially for hunters and for thieves. I'm Jory Talley and I'll have that story.
WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. An Aliceville man is charged with vehicular manslaughter after a deadly crash last month.
Yeah, Macon police say 44-year-old Darren Dwayne Howard was under the influence of alcohol at the time of the crash. Howard was charged with 3 counts of vehicular manslaughter this afternoon. The accident happened at Highway 45 and City Creek Road. 46-year-old Marvin Jackson, 29-year-old Tyrone McMillan, and 39-year-old Derek Ball died at the scene. Chief Lucius Mason says the men were leaving a nightclub and on their way back to Alabama when the accident happened.
It's sad all the way around, just one act by him that he didn't make the right choices on, it caused actually 4 lives, not 3, because, if the things pans out, he may do time for it, but it's nothing good about it.
Howard is still recovering from his injuries. He's being held at the Noxubee County Jail on a $100,000 bond. Our Quentin Smith will have more on this story coming up tonight at 9 and 10.
Tonight we're hearing from neighbors of the elderly man who was found dead after an apparent murder in Baldwin.
We first brought you this story last night. Investigators are still trying to piece together exactly what happened. The body of 70-year-old Henry Adams Jr. was found inside his home yesterday afternoon. Crime scene investigators, including agents with the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, were called to the home. Sources tell WCBI Adams' home was ransacked and he was shot. Adams was known for selling used cars at his property for decades. Baldwin Police Chief Troy Agnew confirms Adams' wallet was found on a bridge on nearby Sand Hill Road. Ira Grice has lived near Adams for years. He says Adams was a great neighbor and he hopes investigators quickly catch whoever is responsible.
He was a very nice person, very quiet, kept to himself. I never seen him drink anything or smoking any cigarettes. He was just a nice person. It makes you feel kind of nervous. It's not a good feeling. It's a very, very funny feeling.
Grice also points out there was a lot of traffic at Adams' residence because of his used car business. Adams' body was taken to the state crime lab in Pearl for an autopsy.
A morning shooting and police chase land a West Point man behind bars. 39-year-old George Mario Gill is charged with attempted murder, felony fleeing from law enforcement, and felon in possession of a firearm. He was booked into the Clay County Detention Center. The shooting happened about 9:30 this morning on Stonewall Street. Police Chief Avery Cook says Gill approached the victim and started shooting, striking the victim in the finger and then driving away. The victim then went to the Clay County Sheriff's Department. Gill was spotted by an officer on Eshman Avenue. That's when police say a pursuit started. He eventually crashed outside the city limits but was not hurt. The shooting victim is expected to recover. Gill could face more charges.
A Georgia man is accused of making terroristic threats to Tishomingo County Courthouse employees shortly after the Las Vegas mass shooting. While trucking for Tyson Foods, Bernard Sylvester Hurd Jr. was issued a citation by MDOT for failure to stop at the scales office. Investigators say refusing to pay the additional fees for missing his court date, the Jonesboro, Georgia resident began to threaten the Justice Court employee over the phone. Hurd was picked up at a traffic stop near Atlanta on Sunday. He was extradited to the Tishomingo County Jail earlier today. Bond has not been set.
The Noxubee County Sheriff's Department is trying to find 4 stolen ATVs. Chief Investigator Eddie Franklin says the 4-wheelers were reported missing back in August. No leads so far have emerged. Those ATVs were parked inside a barn on the owner's property. One 4-wheeler had a key in it, but investigators believe the other 3 were hot-wired. The ATVs are worth nearly $10,000. Well, four-wheelers and side-by-sides have a reputation for being used for work, play, and of course hunting.
Yeah, and with hunting season approaching, the recreational vehicles are also a target for thieves. Our Jory Talley joins us live in Starkville with more.
ATVs like the one sold here at Village Cycle Center in Starkville roll out in high numbers this time of year. That's because A, hunting season is approaching, and B, the holidays are right around the corner. ATV thefts can happen at any time of the year, but this time of the year is the time that deputies say thieves have got their eyes out on the lookout. When hunting season comes around, more ATVs start cranking up.
They're ready to go deer hunt. I mean, we started November 1st will be the main deer hunting season, but you've already had turkey season start and everything else, and that's what you use four-wheelers for.
As more four-wheelers and side-by-sides crank up, more spot and stills start ramping up.
When we have interviewed some people, they'll say, well, I was riding by, I saw it sitting there. So I came back that night, key was in it, I got it. So if you're going to leave it, at least make it a little difficult for them to get it. Like put it on the back, put a chain on it.
Village Cycle Center owner Paula Ivy says many customers will call in about their stolen ATVs, but they don't have the needed information for investigators to track it down. Ivy says to have a picture of it, know the color, the model, the make, and most importantly, this number.
The serial numbers are at different places on different manufacturers, and lots of times if you put a winch on them, you cover up the serial number, and so then it's not readily available for anybody to check. You have to take the winch off.
Noxubee County Sheriff Terry Grassery says hunting equipment is a hot commodity for criminals during these upcoming months.
Trailers, make sure you paint them or put a certain number on it, because trailers usually don't have a serial number. They're just trailers. But make sure you do something that distinguishes yours for anybody else's. That's any kind of your hunting gear.
But why do thieves want them more now than in the summer months?
They want one for a low price. So that's just the way it is. Just a high demand. Christmas coming up. The kids want them, and the people try to get it for the kids, and then you got thieves out there working, trying to do it. It's just that we're not going to have that in Knoxville County.
Ivy says it's wise to have insurance on your ATVs. She also says it's important to note any damage that might be on them. She also advises hunters not to leave your ATVs at deer camp unless you have a way to lock them down. Reporting live in Starkville, Jory Talley, WCBI News.
Good advice there.
Definitely. All right, time to turn things over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. He has our first look at our forecast. Keith?
Weather-wise right now, fair conditions out there. A mix of sun and clouds. The sun going on down right now. 62 in Columbus, 60 in Tupelo, 61 Starkville, 65 in West Point. All right, temperatures across the board into the 60s, even 50s farther north. So it's a chilly one here on our Tuesday evening. Lows tonight about 35 to maybe 40 degrees. So some patchy frost certainly possible, especially from New Albany north of Tupelo towards West Tennessee. But all areas may see a little bit of patchy frost. Just be careful if you have some tender vegetation. But we're back into the 70s by the end of the week. Full forecast in just a few minutes.
Keith, thanks a lot. Silver alerts, you've heard of them. They're issued when a person with dementia or other cognitive impairment is missing. A recent alert hit close to home for a Tupelo couple.
Although their loved one was found safe, they want others to be better prepared. WCBI's Allie Martin has more.
For Craig and Rhonda Horton, this lunch was a time of celebration and reflection. 2 days ago, the family was facing a sudden crisis.
My dad is Randy Pannell. He's 72 years old and he lives at Blue Springs. He lives alone, but we have caregivers, and there was a window on Sunday afternoon that he was left without a caregiver, and he got in his truck and wanted to go for a drive.
A statewide silver alert was issued for Pannell, who suffers from dementia and other medical conditions. He became disoriented, got lost, and ended up in Tuscumbia, Alabama, where he drove off the road and into a soybean field where he got stuck. He was found safe but dehydrated at a nearby church on Monday. Now the Hortons have advice for families with elderly loved ones who may be prone to wander off.
His battery went down So his cell phone didn't work. He had a Life Alert necklace on, which when I purchased the Life Alert system, I thought, okay, I can rest easy. You know, we've got this. But it doesn't have a GPS in it. So there was nothing they could do.
Without a GPS, that necklace only monitors people in their home. Mr. Panel didn't know how to use his cell phone, and neither Craig nor Rhonda had his license plate number for authorities, who also needed a current photo of Panel.
Very important you get a recent photo of your senior loved ones, have their tag number, their vehicle information down to any distinguishing marks on their vehicle identification number is very important.
In this case, thanks to a Good Samaritan, things turned out okay. The Hortons want others to know that a few simple precautions can help prevent a lot of anxiety if a senior family member is disoriented or gets lost. In Tupelo, I'm Allie Martin, WCBI News.
The Hortons also want to thank the Union County Sheriff's Department for helping issue that silver alert. Mr. Panel's keys are now at a secure location.
Proud to serve, members of Mississippi's National Guard are preparing for deployment. A look at some of their training straight ahead. In just a few months, the 155th Armored Brigade will go to Kuwait for a 9-month deployment.
It's part of Operation Spartan Shield, a Middle Eastern contingency operation based out of the Central Command Theater in Kuwait. More than 4,000 Mississippi National Guardsmen and women have been training the last 2 years for the deployment as part of Operation Spartan Shield. 100 of those are from the Starkville Armory. The last training stop is in Fort Bliss, Texas. Those who have been deployed before know how hard training can be and help those who will soon leave their families for the first time.
Well, it's rigorous, no doubt. There's a lot of training, a lot of classes, a lot of mentorship as well. We do a lot of partnerships with active Army components and other states, so we've got a lot of support, and also it's a very we gain a lot of experience across the force when we do something like this.
Soldiers will leave for Fort Bliss in the spring and then go to Kuwait in the summer.
The Choctaw and Winston County Enterprise hosts its 3rd annual job fair in Ackerman today. 15 local companies fill the community center for several hours this morning. Last year, 1 out of every 3 people from this fair was hired. Local companies also see the value in these job fairs.
You know, we're going to keep local. You know, we want our Choctaw County to grow, and so this is a great way to promote Choctaw County.
We can expose anyone that's looking to a job to all the different types of jobs that we have available here, and so it's been a value-added program that our employers look forward to each year. They hire from the applicants that they meet here year-round, and so it's great exposure for our industry and for those that are looking for a job.
And Enterprise employees say there was actually an increase in this year's turnout.
Otherwise, in Tupelo this evening, it looks pretty nice. Temperatures are cooling on down, 50s in many spots here now or shortly, and then into the upper 40s, 30s tonight, and a good chunk of the area. Full forecast is next.
Your first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Let's go to Lamar County right now. Vernon, Durham's Pharmacy, our Alpha Insurance camera looking back to the west. Some clouds. The sun has set. It is going to be a cool evening. We're still holding on to the 60s. In some spots, other spots like Iuga, Corinth, Oxford already down into the upper 50s. Let's go to New Hope today. Look at all the kids here. Middle school, New Hope Middle School. Jacob Dickey out there today talking about tornadoes and severe weather. We love going out to the schools. Go to our website, WCBI.com. Find that form right there, our Emerson Animal Hospital form, and we'll schedule a visit to your school, your organization. We got a few more trickle in today, so we will be contacting more folks to line up some more visits. We love doing that. All right, weather-wise for this evening and tonight, some frosty potential. Not guaranteed, but from New Albany to Boonville North, we do have a frost advisory. That doesn't mean that's the only spot where there could be some patchy frost. There could be some patchy frost elsewhere, mid to upper 30s for lows tonight. Not a freeze, but a light frost perhaps. If you have some tender vegetation, you may want to cover it up if you live in a low-lying sheltered spot. If you live in the cities, probably not a big ordeal at this point, but we could see some cooler nights as we get into the upcoming weekend. So 'tis the season for cooler temperatures. Look at that big area of low pressure up there in the Great Lakes. That is really driving some wind across most of the United States right now. Pretty big wind field here. We tapped into a little bit of that today. That wind relaxes tonight. The skies clear out, the air is dry. That's why we cool on down. Look at these temperatures in Los Angeles and Phoenix, upper 90s, low triple digits today. The World Series out there in LA. Just about time to start that. Wow, it's going to be a warm game there this evening in Los Angeles. Now, tomorrow, a lot of sunshine, no 90s, no triple digits. How about some comfortable temperatures by the afternoon, low to mid 60s, climbing out of the 40s to the 50s as we into your lunch hour. But highs should be in the low to mid 60s, winds from the west about 10 to 15, not as strong as what we had out there today. As we get into Thursday, a lot of sunshine, southerly breezes here. Notice those little arrows from the south. We're back into the 70s, probably still out of the south for the winds on Friday. 70s before that front arrives. Clouds increase during Friday afternoon and Friday evening. There could be some rain around for your high school football games. Some of that could linger into the first half of Saturday. And then cooler 50s for highs this weekend. Lows fall back into the 30s. It is a temperature roller coaster. Andrea, hold on tight.
A huge Friday of football means a trifecta for the game of the week. We'll reveal where we are heading next in sports.
WCBI First Alert Weather School is brought to you by Emerson Animal Hospital in West Point. WCBI Sports with Tom Ebel is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
A big week in high school football as teams look to lock up divisions and punch their tickets to the playoffs. The latest AP rankings didn't have many changes, but now two area teams now sit at the top of the overall standings. Number 1, West Point. Number 2, Tupelo. We'll highlight our area teams. Number 4, Starkville. For the full list of the top 10, go to our website, WCBI.com. To 6A, West Point, 6A. Pearl over Tupelo in this one, but Tupelo over Pearl in the overall. Riddle me that. Number 3, Starkville. Let's jump down to 5A. West Point at number 1. Also, in this one, we'll go down to 4A. That is Poplarville, East Central, Pontotoc at number 3, Greene County and Itawamba AHS at 5, Louisville and Noxubee also receiving votes. To 3A we go. North Panola, Yazoo County, Jefferson Davis County, Charleston and Hazelhurst, Choctaw County and Owatter Valley getting votes in 3A. To 2A we go. Scott Central, Philadelphia, Calhoun City at number 3. Eupora and Winona received votes. Thought Winona should maybe be a little bit higher on this list. Then to 1A, Simmons at 1, Nanawai at 2, Stringer 3, Lumberton at 4, and Okolona at number 5. Smithville receiving votes in this one. Pretty big game coming up on Friday. We'll get to that in a minute. And then to the private schools, Starkville Academy in at number 5. Again, for the full list of the latest rankings, go to our website, WCBI.com. Due to inclement weather possible on Friday, the Amory Panthers and Moorville Troopers football game has been moved to Thursday at 7 p.m. This is a crucial game in Region 2-4A as the winner will look to lock up the 4th and final playoff spot in the region. The moment you've all been waiting for, an enormous Friday of football. We've been talking about it. It's going to have playoff spots, divisions, all on the line for this week's Game of the Week. We're bringing out the trifecta. That's right, 3 games of the week headquartered in Pontotoc for the Warriors taking on the Shannon Red Raiders. Region 2-4A championship on the line. If Pontotoc wins, they're it. If Shannon wins, it's going to get weird. A possible 3-way tie for first. We'll be there to see how it all goes down. And then also, we'll be heading into West Alabama for another divisional championship. Vernon taking on Sullivan. The Blue Devils look to knock off the Bulldogs as reigning champs. The rivalry is fierce, and it's about to get even better. And last but not least, 2 powerhouses in 1A squaring off. Thunder and Lightning of Nanawaya taking on Magic Moffett and the Smithville Seminoles. We'll be anchoring our coverage live from the Hollow on Friday, and we'll have reports from all 3 sites coming up on Friday. Buckle up, folks. It's going to be a wild and wacky Friday. Staying in high school football, we recognize the stars in the trenches and on electric lines. It's time for our Lineman of the Week.
Tonight's Lineman of the Week is brought to you by TVA's new eScore Residential Energy Efficiency Program.
Our Lineman of the Week, the Smithville Seminoles, averaging close to 250 yards per game, over 3,300 total yards of offense, 43 pancake blocks. That's how we see Magic Moffitt every single Friday. And, of course, the big boys on the defensive line, 14 sacks, 73 tackles for loss. Smithville is our lineman of the week. Also coming up at 10 on WCBI Sports, playoff volleyball round 2. We'll have highlights from around the area coming up as well. That's it for sports. We'll have last good weather coming up next.
All right, some patchy frost possible tonight, but a quick rebound tomorrow. Lots of sunshine, 70s Thursday, Friday. Then we dip back down into the 50s for the weekend.
And the high of 55 on Saturday.
Chilly stuff.
It is. This time of year.
There you go.
All right, thanks for joining us.